We are now very fortunate to be hearing from two esteemed design leaders this year, Stellene Volandes and David Kleinberg. Stellene will now be introduced by New York School of Interior Design board member Alexa Hampton. Alexa, would you please join me at the podium?
Hello and congratulations to the NYSID Students 2025. I think it is fair to say that this is not the beginning nor the end, but rather the end of the beginning. Congratulations on this immense accomplishment. This graduation is the result of your dedicated hard work to become experts in the various and allied fields that make for a great interior designer. And because of your smarts and global understanding of the field, you also know that our profession is not a solitary endeavor. The world of design isn't one run by designers alone. It is a complex and layered ecosystem powered by clients, artists, craftspeople, manufacturers, teachers, curators, connoisseurs, dealers, technicians, as well as those in the very necessary category of design journalism. Journalists shape design culture in a million important ways. They are colloquially seen as a group that determines trends, who might be in and what might be out. But that is really a hilarious far cry from the reality of what they do. Design journalism is an interdisciplinary field that combines traditional journalism while considering the depths of design thinking and principles. Notably, the knowledge, experience, and eye of an accomplished design journalist helps them thoughtfully identify and explore the beauty and innovation that makes designers tick and various design movements iconic. They are our visual storytellers who can make sense of it all, both to the public and to the designers themselves. Lastly, at their highest ranks, they are astute business people. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing an exemplar who exists at the very, very top of this field, Stellene Volandes. Stellene is an editor, author, and cultural leader who has worked across journalism, design, and the arts. Since 2016, she has been the editor-in-chief of Town & Country, where she has shaped the magazine's voice around heritage, philanthropy, design, and cultural relevance. In 2020, she also joined the masthead of ELLE Decor, taking on the Herculean job of editorial director, guiding the vision for this quintessential brand and assuring the ongoing high standards of this esteemed and long-established design Bible. Stellene's interests, of course, transcend siloed industries and disciplines. In addition to steering the direction of two monumental magazines, she's also the author of two books, Jeweler, Masters, Mavericks, and Visionaries of Modern Design, a celebration of jewelry designers and the evolution of their work, and Jewels That Made History, which explores the cultural and historic resonance of iconic pieces of jewelry and their impact on world events. Her scholarship on the history of jewelry and its wider impact on society is yet another arena in which she artfully synthesizes cultural influence through the lens of her design expertise. Stellene also serves on the board of Lincoln Center Theater. Oh my God, it's exhausting. She is a longtime champion of New York's theater scene. So graduates, if you're not already awed by the breadth of her abilities, please know that she also excels at giving back, a core value at NYSID. We are honored to hear Stellene speak and to recognize her contributions with today's presentation of an honorary doctorate of fine arts degree. Stellene, will you join us at the podium?
Every time I speak to designers, I always wonder if they're listening to me or if they're looking around the room thinking what they could do with the place. So just give me like 10 minutes and then you could do your plans. I'm so happy and honored to be here with all of you today. And I want to thank David Sproles, Ellen Fisher, and Ellen Kravitz for inviting me to join. But I want to first and most sincerely thank you, the graduates today, for believing in this profession and choosing it as your life's work, and for coming to this school and valuing that this profession is an art and a business that needs to be studied and understood. You now come into our world, this incredible industry and community, armed with everything that you have learned. Now, as a speaker at graduation, I'm expected to offer you some advice on what's next, how to make it happen. So this, in my humble yet highly opinionated opinion, is some of the things that I believe are important next. Now, I promise you this speech is not going to be all about Hester Prynne and the Scarlet Letter, but I do warn you they're going to come up. Many graduation speeches urge you to never give up. I'm going to suggest that you actually do the opposite, that for the right reasons and at the right time, the best decision is giving up. It is what I call the power of the pivot. I'm going to ask you to consider the possibilities that open when you do give up, when you exercise that power. Some of you have already done it. You have pivoted from other careers, from other majors, from ideas, your own and others, of who you are or who you should be. And look at the power of that pivot. It brought you here today. Here you are graduating from this incredible institution, ready to take on the design world, armed with the knowledge and the skills to do just that. Sometimes the pivots are going to be that monumental. Sometimes the pivots are going to be smaller in scope, but no less powerful. You might want to go mid-century again when everyone has turned their backs on it. You might decide to do brown lacquer walls when everyone around you is intent upon eggshell. Sometimes it might simply be a matter of giving up on an idea that you thought was just so good, only to realize that actually there is something better. Okay, here comes Hester Prynne. Because she represents my own big pivot. And I hope that this pivot opens up your minds of what's possible. I was an assistant at Vogue right out of college. It was my dream job. I was an English major. After 3 years there, I wasn't sure it was the right world for me. I decided to quit publishing and teach high school English at LaGuardia. I miss Timothy Chalamet, just to be clear. My bosses at Vogue thought I was crazy. Many people did. Many people outright told me I was making the wrong decision and that I would never, ever come back to publishing. And for 2 years, I absolutely loved teaching. I thought it was my calling. I thought it was what I was meant to do. And then I didn't. And so I decided I wanted to go back, to pivot back into publishing, to ignore the voices in my head and everywhere that wondered what I was doing again. Here you are, jumping around. I wasn't jumping around, I was pivoting. Back into publishing, where my old boss at Vogue had become editor-in-chief of Departures magazine and gave me the opportunity that I was told I would never have if I left. I became an assistant editor at Departures. I stayed there for a decade, and I only left to become an editor at Town & Country, where I have been for 13 years. There's an incredible speech Steve Jobs once gave at Stanford graduation, and if you haven't read it, I urge you to do so. Anytime I'm at a crossroads, I Google that speech and read it. He had dropped out of college and was kind of floating around doing lots of different things. He decided to sit in on a calligraphy class with no purpose, with no goal in sight. And he really never knew what he might use that for, except when he was developing the Mac and he looked back on his calligraphy classes to create the fonts on the Mac. Now, I'm not Steve Jobs, and I did not invent Apple, okay? But when I think about what he says, connecting the dots backwards, I think about my time teaching and what it gave me that I never would have had if I hadn't left and pivoted. I can stand in front of basically anyone and public speak with no butterflies, That's what happens when you get up in front of 35 New York City high school students and try and get them interested in Hester Prynne and Huck Finn. I also, and this helps me on every single article I write, I learned how to make sure that even if someone is not interested in what you are about to talk about or read about, you find a way to get them interested. Again, Hester Prynne, New York City high school students. Teach them that she is actually a rebel triumphing against her community, and you have their attention. A pivot, what I want to say, is not merely about leaving one thing behind to start another. It's about taking all that you have learned and continuing on a path. Maybe you turn a little bit to the right, maybe you turn all the way on to the left, but that path, right, left, forward, backwards, that's what's going to get you on the path that is made only and distinctly for you. Okay, now less philosophy, some practical advice. Save all your contacts. Keep your address book updated. The power of your network, and look around this room, this network that you have will guide you and empower you. Reach out to those you admire. Show up to the office, to events, for this industry, for your community. Email is great, but sometimes a positive comment on a designer's work who you admire begins a beautiful relationship. Use every measure at your disposal. Another thing, 2 words that should not go together, but that I believe deeply are the twin pillars of success: humility and ambition. Remember that no job is too small. But no job is too big either. Whatever job you are asked to do it with excellence and enthusiasm. But while you are keeping your head down and working, or your hand up for opportunity, remember to always keep your mind and your heart filled with the biggest dreams imaginable. And if you remember nothing else, remember this. Remember the joy. You have all chosen a creative life. That choice is a brave and beautiful one. It's not easy, and there will be challenges, but never forget how lucky we all are to pursue our dreams, to make a job doing something that we love. I speak from experience. Do you realize how rare that is? Celebrate that and value it. And remember that only you can do what you can do. Learn history, harness and understand the power of technology, but be confident in what your mind and your imagination can achieve. Can technology actually replace true human creativity? A mind really at work? I'm not convinced. Now all of you, go onwards and upwards and prove me right. Congratulations.
Bear with me a moment. Thank you, Stellene, for those amazing and encouraging words. What's the one word we're going to remember? Pivot. Okay. David Kleinberg will now be introduced by New York School of Interior Design Chairman Ellen Kravitz. Ellen, would you join me at the podium?
Thank you, President Sprouls. It is an honor for me to introduce David Kleinberg today. David and I have served on the NYSID board together for almost a decade. Together, we have supported the school through triumphs and challenges. Challenges? No challenges. David has always been a thoughtful contributor, especially when we have had complex decisions to make. But today, we are here to honor David's own 35-year career as one of the most celebrated names in interior design globally. His work can't be pigeonholed stylistically, but is always modern in sensibility, even as it references history. He creates spaces that at once have an understated elegance and practical comfort, often incorporating bespoke furnishings and exquisite and detailed craftsmanship to achieve a sense of effortless luxury, all highly attuned to each client's lifestyle. After graduating from Trinity College in 1976, David gained enviable experience working for venerable firms like Denning and Fourcade, Maria Palmer, a 16-year tenure at Parrish Hadley. He left Parrish Hadley in 1997 to start his own New York-based David Kleinberg Design Associates, which today employs 20 people. David's awards and accolades are many. He is a member of the Interior Design Magazine Hall of Fame and has been honored with the Albert Hadley Lifetime Achievement Award by NYSID. He was first named to Architectural Digest's AD list in 2012 and a member of ELLE Decor's A list since 2011, both very highly regarded lists in our industry. His work is regularly published internationally, including the monograph David Kleinberg Interiors, recently published by Monticelli Press. David's work often celebrates his early influences, including in his own Upper East Side apartment, where he preserved historic details like elaborate millwork and marble fireplaces, while incorporating a clean-lined master suite and a chinoiserie dining room to create an experience that takes cues from his early days designing both Denning and Fourcade and Parrish Hadley. David's design expertise extends well beyond Manhattan and the Hamptons. He has even done interiors for 2 super yachts built in the Netherlands, showcasing his versatility as well as his consistent attention to detail, which are a hallmark of his work. Today, we are honored to hear David speak and to recognize his contribution with today's presentation of an honorary doctorate of fine arts degree. David, will you please join me at the podium?
It's all yours.
I'll put these on. Be better. Thank you, Ellen. Thank you, President Sprouls, Alan Kravitz, members of the Board of Trustees, esteemed faculty, families, and most importantly, the graduating class. I'm truly honored to receive this degree from New York School of Interior Design, an institution I respect greatly and apparently have been on board of for 10 years. I thought there was a limit to boards, but I'll ask that question later. This is a rather ironic event for me for 2 reasons. First, my mother always wanted me to be a doctor, and although I'm told I may not change my business cards to read Dr. Kleinberg, I believe she would have been just as pleased as I am at this unexpected honor. The second reason for this irony is because I actually never attended design school myself. Perhaps I should keep that piece of information to myself today, given the circumstances. But I bring it up not to downplay the value of your education, but to emphasize it. because not going to design school remains one of the very few true regrets of my career, one that has rewarded me so much more than I imagined as a young boy in suburban Long Island. What you've experienced, the structured training, the late nights drafting, revising, the feedback, the shared meals, critiques, community, that's a profound foundation, and one I truly envy. My own education came not from a classroom, but from the legendary office of Parish Hadley. I spent 16 years there working under Sister Parish and Albert Hadley, two icons of American design. It was in many ways, really in every way, the finest school I could have attended, though not without its complications. After 2 years of working without a break, I took my first vacation, and upon returning, I found a note slipped under my apartment door letting me know I'd been fired. I went straight to see Mrs. Parish the next morning before going to the office. I apologized for the miscommunication about my holiday time. She was gracious, or amused. Anyway, allowed me to keep the job. I remained there for 16 more years. There are worse ways to begin a career. I learned a lot at Parish Hadley. Some lessons were about scale and proportions. Others were about communication and humility. That early stumble reminded me that clarity, especially in this business, is everything. Clients, collaborators, and certainly employers don't like surprises, but they will usually forgive sincerity. This career we've chosen is, at its heart, a life in pursuit of beauty and taste, two of the most ephemeral, subjective, and ever-changing ideas in human culture. A few years ago, I was asked to write an essay about taste. I accepted somewhat naively and then found myself entirely stumped. What I finally came to was this. Taste is an aesthetic concept. Taste as an aesthetic concept is like trying to describe the color of oxygen. It's intangible, personal, constantly shaped by the world around us, and yet we often know it when we see it. It's like perfect pitch. Elusive, but real. I spent 40 years in pursuit of the service of this idea. When I was younger, imagine back, I leaned towards minimalism, neutral palettes, disciplined symmetry, a sense of control. But over time, that shifted. Spending time in Tangier, Morocco in recent years has opened me up to color and pattern. There's something liberating about ornamentation when it's done with depth and purpose. So if there's one constant I can offer you as a graduate, it's this. Your taste will change, and that's something to celebrate. You'll also discover probably sooner than you like that design is not just about beauty. It's about boundaries. I once interviewed for an exciting project where the clients had an impossibly short timeline. I told them as gently and politely as I could that if someone else claimed they could deliver that quickly, they were either inexperienced or being untruthful. I didn't get the job, but I stand by what I said. You'll be tempted early on, maybe always, to say yes to everything. Try to remember, honesty might not win you every commission, but it will build the kind of career you can live with and be proud of. Design, at its best, is an act of service. You're stepping into someone else's life to help them shape it. That's a responsibility and a privilege. But it's also a business. That means respecting the process. Budgets, timelines, the rhythm of collaboration, and learning from the many people who will know more than you do, and there will be many, carpenters, framers, fabricators, electricians, antique dealers. Listen to them. You can't Google intuition or experience. Design has the unique ability to shape how we experience the world, not just visually, but emotionally. The spaces we create influence how people think, feel, connect. As designers, we're both technicians and emotional translators. Every detail from the curve of a chair to the warmth of a color can communicate care and intention. You've heard this earlier. Whenever you can, travel. I loathe airport security. But there's no substitute for what travel does to the eyes and the brain. Seeing how people live and move through space will change how you design it. Look for inspiration everywhere. One of my greatest creative influences has always been George Balanchine, not an architect, but a choreographer. His genius was in moving bodies across a stage with extraordinary visual and spatial clarity. Watching his work is like witnessing architecture in motion. Balance, rhythm, structure, and grace, all refined into form. His choreography reminds me that both design and dance are about shaping space with purpose. Neither is static. Both are lived in and moved through, and both, when done well, are quietly breathtaking. You'll be tempted to play it safe or to follow trends. Avoid both. Neither will serve you or your clients over time. Design for the people who live in the space, not for the people who might double-click on Instagram. It's easy to be seduced by what's popular or what looks good in a photo, but your real responsibility is to create something lasting, something intelligent, something that works. Don't apologize for having a point of view. That's exactly why people hire you. Just make sure your point of view is in service of the client, not of the algorithm. The community of design has given me everything: a career, a sense of purpose, and a staggering number of beautiful friendships with clients, craftspeople, artists, writers. It continues to give. Every year I take on interns from NYSID, 2 or 3 students who join our office to gain experience. Their energy, ideas, sheer enthusiasm, it's one of the most gratifying parts of what I do. I hope each of you finds the same joy in sharing, mentoring, and giving back. So to each of you graduating today, congratulations. You've done something remarkable, something I didn't do. Now go out into, go out into the world and make decisions, make mistakes, make beauty. It's been my privilege to share today with all of you. Thank you.